7th graders, we are working on Objective 2 of EEI, and we have some practice to look at here. Okay, we are now combining solving equations with distribution. So we're going to have to be doing both of those things, combining those skills into one problem. So the first thing we need to do here is distribute. I'm going to rewrite it a little bit bigger. We're going to distribute the -4 to everything in the parentheses. That means we multiply everything in the parentheses by -4. So -4 times a positive w gives us a -4w. -4 times a positive 1 gives us a -4. That equals -4. Now we need to get w by itself. We need to solve for w. So we're always going to get rid of everything that doesn't have a w first, and then we'll get rid of the number that is with w. So that -4 does not have a w. We need to get rid of that by doing the opposite. The opposite of subtracting or a negative is adding, or a positive. So we add a +4. It goes away on the left. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So we add 4. That leaves us with -4w equal to -20. -24 plus 4, they're unlike. So we subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, gives us -20. The last thing to get w by itself, we have to get rid of that -4. When a number is right next to a letter or a variable, that's multiplication. So the opposite of multiplying would be dividing. We divide by -4. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. W equals a +5 because two negatives make a positive. So we just get +5 for w. Good. Next question. Same process. We have 3 times q minus 7 equals 27. Now we could distribute that 3. That's one way to do it. Or we could divide everything by 3. We'll just distribute that since that's what we have been doing before. So 3 times q is q. 3 times -7 is -21. That equals 27. We have to get rid of this 21 first because it does not have a q. The opposite of subtracting 21 is adding it. That equals 0. It goes away. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. So we add 21. 3q now equals 48. Now we have to get rid of that 3 in front of the q. Again, when a number is right next to a letter like that, it means multiplication. So to get rid of it, we do the opposite, which is dividing. Divide by 3, what you do to one side, you do to the other side. Divide by 3, and q equals 16. All right, plug that in. Good. That's all for that link, combining those skills of distributing and solving equations. Okay, this link is very much the same thing, except now we have some decimals. So we're going to, I'll rewrite it first. We have -4.5 equal to -0.5 x minus 7.1. Okay, now again, you could divide by -0.5 or you could distribute. Since we distributed last time, let's try dividing this time. So if I divide this whole right side by -0.5, that's going to cancel because there's multiplication right there. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. Divide by -0.5. 4.5 divided by 0.5 is going to be 9, and two negatives make a positive, so that's a +9. And then x minus 7.1. Now we want to get x by itself, so we have to get rid of that -7.1 by adding 7.1. That equals 0, cancels. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. So we add, remember when you add decimals, you have to line up the decimal. So that's going to give us 16.1. And that's our final answer, just 16.1. All right, another question. Here we have some fractions. Same process, but it looks a little bit different. So we have to remember carefully our rules with multiplying and dividing and positive and negative numbers. Okay, we want to get j by itself. So first we get rid of the term that doesn't have a j, which is the 10/3. We do that by doing the opposite. Opposite of subtracting is adding. Cancels there, goes away. So we're going to add 10/3 on this side. Okay, on the right, we have just j over 4, because that went away. Over here, we're going to add those fractions. We need a common denominator in order to add fractions, and we already have that, so that's good. Now we think we have 10 plus -1. A positive 10 and -1, they're unlike, so we actually subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. 10 minus 1 is 9. 10 is the bigger number, it's positive, so that's a positive 9. That becomes 9 over 3. And remember, fractions also just mean division. So 9 divided by 3 is simply just 3. So I can simplify that to 3, and now I have 3 equals j over 4. Now we have to get rid of this 4 here. This is division. The opposite of division is multiplication. So we multiply by 4, or by 4 over 1. Those cancel. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. So we multiply by 4, and we get j equals 12. All right, so it's a little bit, looks a little bit different when we have fractions, but it's really the same process. What you do to one side, you do to the other side, using your rules for multiplication and division. All right, our last link here, same thing, except we're trying to find the mistake in the steps. So remember, they could either distribute the 7 or they could divide both sides by 7. So you have to be aware of both, because you might think they made a mistake, but actually what they did is they divided instead of distributing. So make sure you're watching that carefully. So here, since they have 7y, I know they distributed, but they didn't actually do 7 times the 4.5. So I know already right here is the mistake, because that shouldn't be 4.5 anymore. So I can go to step 1 is the mistake. Good. Okay, and this one right here, we always get rid of the term that does not have the variable first. So it's 1.5b plus 9 equals 11. The 9 is the term without the variable, so we want to get rid of that. Do the opposite. Opposite of adding is subtracting. Subtract on the left. What you do on one side, you do to the other side. Subtract 9. So you get 1.5b equal to 2. And look, they have 1.5b equal to 3. So again, step 1 is the mistake, because they subtracted incorrectly. All right, that is all the examples for Objective 2. Good luck on your practice.